Hi, everybody. Welcome. And because I encountered a critical error, I'm now pulling out my documents again. I was prepared this time, I swear it. Let's see, Susie's. Okay, cool. Todd, can you take attendance for the last time?
Done.
Cool. Can I get an approval of the agenda?
I move we approve the agenda.
Awesome. Second?
I'll second.
Cool. All in favor?
Aye.
Who is that second? Sorry.
Carrie.
Carrie?
Carrie.
Okay.
Any opposed? Okay, cool. Did everybody have a chance to look at the minutes? Are there any changes, I suppose, is a better question. If
I
not,
move we approve the minutes.
thanks, Mara. And a second?
I'll second it, Chris.
Cool, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Cool. All right. Well, actually, I'm not sure who the phone number is. Sometimes Mike calls in. If the person whose phone number ends in 30 can identify themselves as a person from the public or a member of the commission?
Oh, I'm sorry, guys.
Is that you, Mike?
Yeah,
Okay.
I must have signed in twice.
Perfect.
So
Just want to make sure
861.
you're accounted for.
Yeah, okay.
Awesome. Okay. Then I don't think we have any members of the public present, and we'll just move right along. Chair's report. I don't have anything to report other than to say this is my last meeting with y'all, and it's been a pleasure. And I'm really thankful for the time, the 3 years that I've had working on this commission. I've learned a lot about how the city of Richfield works, about how much we care about issues related to human rights. And hopefully sometime I'm looking forward to the next couple of years cycling back on after taking a little bit of a break for a little while. That's my game plan. But other than that, I have nothing to report. Chris, do you have anything?
I have nothing, but thank you for your participation over these last 3 years. It's been a pleasure getting to meet you.
Todd, do you have anything?
Just that this is also my last meeting as a member of the HRC. So thanks, everyone. It's been, this year obviously was a little unfortunate. I'm glad we could still at least meet virtually, but it has been good, at least getting to know everyone a little bit.
Which leads right into the first piece of the agenda. And I just wanted to say both to Todd and Carrie in particular, who's been on the commission for more than 3 years. Carrie, how long have you been serving?
It's been about 4.5 years.
4.5 years, yeah. Thank you both for your service. It's been a pleasure. You both have had leadership roles on the commission at various points, both secretary, in fact. Carrie, I don't know if you've held any other positions. You may have. So thank you guys for your service to Richfield, to this commission. Appreciate it. The very first point of agenda, I swear I looked through the last several agendas for the January meeting because I could not figure out where this election should go. And it was always at the front end of the agenda.
We skipped the liaison reports if there are any.
I did. You're right. Mike, do you have anything?
Yeah, I'm just going to mention a couple of things. I don't want to spend a lot of time, but I know it's important to this group. I know 2020 was kind of a bust for everybody. Well, first of all, let me thank everybody for their service. I've been on this commission now for a couple of years, and I think building these relationships with community members is really important, especially in today's climate. So I appreciate everybody's service. And I appreciate being on this with this group. I just want to report on two things, not citywide, but related to the PD, because I know they're important to this group. First, body cameras. I know people have asked about them. We plan on rolling out body cameras for RPD next week. We've had a couple technical glitches. We're working through them, but we should have them out mid next week. So I know that's important to this group, and we are trying to get them out there. So that should be taken care of. The second thing I know that is really important to this group, and again, it relates to the police department, is we're in the final phases of hiring another Latina police officer. And I can't tell you how difficult it is to hire Latina police officers. This will be number 2 for Richfield. And I think that's a pretty high number, but just so people know that, or this group knows that RPD is really focusing on our equity and inclusion. If we go back to the summer of 19, in our last 5 hires, we've hired 4 Latinos or Latinas. So out of our last 5 hires, 4 of them have been officers of color, which I'm not patting anybody on the back. We've just really made an effort on this. Is really is important to the police department. I think it's really important to the community. So, and all of these new officers all have language skills that are really important to this community. So I'm looking forward to it, and it's just 2020 was kind of a mess, but we're starting out 2021 in the right direction. So I just wanted to report on that. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Deputy Chief Flaherty. That's actually a great update. And though you said you're not looking for a pat on the back, I think the police department deserves one. That's a big deal to be seeking out people who reflect the community that we live in. I think it's a really important step. So thanks for those updates. Does anybody else have any comments they want to make? Okay, Councilperson Seppel.
First of all, I just want to say thank you for everyone who's served on the commission this past year, and I just really appreciate it. And I know some of you are going to be continuing on and some of you are going to be cycling off, but I just wanted to say thank you to everyone. We had a little bit of a glitch when they were rolling out the new website, so that some people who tried to apply to be a commissioner, that wasn't working. So if you know somebody that wants to be a commissioner, they've extended the deadline to January 15th. People can still apply, and you can get the application form from Kelly Wynn, and her email would be kwynn@richfieldmin.gov. I don't know, I'm hoping now that the one on the website is also working, but the fallback position is to go to kwynn@richfieldmin.gov. So please encourage other people to sign up for commissions, or if you guys want to sign back up again, all of those things that's going to be really important. The second piece of good news is that they have offered the equity and inclusion supervisor position to a gentleman named Bill Green. I haven't met him, but I know a couple of you guys served on the committee, so you may want to talk more about it, but we're really excited about that. And then the final thing is, I know we're going to be working on the work plan later. I think Mr. Green is going to be joining us as part of the commission in the future, along with the staff from the police department. So you'll have two groups of staff members that are helping support this commission. And so I just wanted to let you know that he's going to be part of that. And also, there were a couple of community members that had reached out about ranked choice voting. And so that might be something that people want to look at for ideas for the work plan, or if you've worked on it in the past. I don't know the history here. I'm just going to throw that out there that someone had brought it up. And that's my report. Thank you.
So I'm going to jump in with a couple different things. First, I have the draft work plan saved on the RHRC Google Drive. So I just added an other ideas section in real time. So that's going to I'll capture all the updates as we go tonight. So it will be ready to go for whatever comes next. So I added that. Oops, sorry. Then a question to all three of our liaisons. I know that you guys also serve in rotating capacities. Do we have any sense for if you'll be continuing on with us? And if not, if you know who might be the liaison for the commission next year? And by next year, I mean starting next month.
We haven't decided for the council yet, so I don't know at this point.
Okay.
I'll be back.
All right. It's nice to have the continuity. It really
Yeah.
is.
Yep, I agree. And then, like Mary said, then John is going to join also, so that'll be a nice, nice addition. I haven't met him yet, but look forward to it.
Bill? I think his name is Bill, right?
Yeah, Bill, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
And I'm intending to say we will decide for sure at our next meeting.
Awesome. Allegra, that rolls right in. Like if you have any updates from the school board, feel free. Now's a great time.
You know, I really don't have any at this time. The only thing I can think of is I've been working with Sarah Jesperson, our American Indian Education Coordinator in Richfield, just kind of discussing a land or territorial acknowledgement that the school board might do either as a as a plaque or a verbal acknowledgement at meetings. And she mentioned that someone from this commission had talked to her in the past. So I felt some synergy there, and I noticed that on the work plan that committee with Indigenous Peoples Day was mentioned. So we haven't made a ton of progress yet, but conversations are happening. So that might be an opportunity for the city and the school board to collaborate.
What was the title of the position?
Sarah is the American Indian Education Program Lead for Richfield Public Schools, and she worked with the city on the Indigenous Peoples Day and had been in conversations with I think the former director of the Human Rights Commission.
Yeah, Brett and I were part of that.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Sarah actually came to one of our meetings. I think was it one of our the meetings we had at the in-person meetings. I think earlier in the year. I think it was earlier this year.
Yes, yeah, she was going out on maternity leave.
Yes. I did add the note into the work plan though, just to make sure that her name was mentioned there and her position title. Perfect. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Okay. All right, back to the thing that I was doing before I forgot what I was supposed to be doing. So, as I said, I went back and looked at some agendas from previous years for the January meeting to figure out where the placement of the election was, and it was always the first item of business. So that's what I did. Elections. Oh, you know what? I did not think about how this was going to work electronically. Susie would love some thoughts and help about how elections. Does anybody know how we should approach this? I can't believe I did not consider this.
We did it before. We chatted with Susie privately to vote.
Yes. Susie, does that work?
Yeah, that works. Just make sure you change it from everyone to me. And
Yeah.
I'll keep a tally, and then I can tell you the results when it's over.
Okay, perfect. I'm trying to see. All right. So how elections work, you can nominate yourself, and self-nominations are absolutely welcome. You can nominate somebody else, but the person has to accept the nomination. And last year when we did this, we decided to do offices one by one, because if you are not elected for one, you might then want to consider another one and then be eligible to do that. So we would start with chair, do vice chair, then secretary, and then also Katie, what is the position? It's the
I think it's social media, I want to say liaison.
social media liaison is not technically an elected position. It's more like an appointed, agreed upon position, but so we can address that once we get there. But our 3 elected positions are the chair, the vice chair, and the secretary. So Todd, Carrie, and myself are not eligible, but I have thoughts on, I'm happy to make nominations for this, but people are welcome to nominate themselves. So at this time, we will take self-nominations or nominations from others for the chair for the 2021 year. Oh, if anybody needs a reminder about the duties, they are in our bylaws. In the bylaws, I added a link to them in the draft work plan. So if you need to access them and need a couple minutes to review, happy to do that too. I can also just copy and paste this into the chat. They are there now. So feel free, I'll let everybody take a quick minute we'll do 2 minutes to review the duties of all of the positions. And then we will move forward with nominations. If you have any questions, let me know as well. My clock has moved 2 minutes. It might be just shy of it. So I'm sure I didn't start it right at 6:50, but if anybody needs more time, let me know. Otherwise, floor is open for self-nominations or nominations of others.
And this is just for chair right now?
This is just for chair right now. Mm-hmm. I have 2 chair nominations. I can stick with one for right now and we'll see how things roll, but I would nominate Mara as chair for the commission for 2021. But again, Mara, you would have to accept the nomination. You don't just get voted in against your will.
I don't know. I've got a pretty full plate doing the things that I already do.
That's fair.
How much time does it take you to do this on average?
So, I mean, the meeting which you're already doing, and then maybe an additional hour of prep for the meeting, but then whatever you would normally sign up to work on, right? So you've already said that you're interested in doing the conversion therapy ban, which you would be working on whether or not you are the chair. So, you know, stuff like that. I would say chair duties are no more than an hour, usually a month. If that's helpful for anybody and anybody's choice.
Well, I haven't looked at the duties either, because I didn't have anything like that in mind coming into this tonight.
My second nomination would be Chris as well, but I know both people, everybody's got things in their lives, so I will just let you guys think about it.
This is Chris. One of my concerns is that the chair has to be kind of out in the public. And some of you know that I am in remission from cancer, and I only have one kidney. And I'm afraid of being out in the public until this COVID thing is a little bit more under control. So, but thank you for nominating me.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
I'll accept your nomination. We'll see how it works out. This is for 2 years, right?
It's a 1 year.
Okay. That makes it a little, yeah, okay. A 1 year, okay.
And I am thinking that you could even structure this in a way where you work more closely with the vice chair to do alternative agenda prep. You know, there are lots of different configurations.
What if nobody else wants to do anything though? What about that?
Good question. I don't know. I don't know. We will see what happens. Are there any other self-nominations or nominations of other folks? I think we need to vote just for the sake of process. But Susie may be able to say otherwise.
I mean, we could do a roll call vote. I don't know if that's permitted via the bylaws, but there's only 8 of you. So
it doesn't dictate in the bylaws how we vote. It just basically
Can we vote for Mara by acclamation?
And then do we say, I don't even know how to respond to that question. I'm not sure what an acclamation is, if I'm being honest.
That we all agree that she should be our new chair.
I'm good with that. Yes. All in favor? Aye. That kind of thing. Chris, are you talking? I'm sorry. Michelle, are you talking?
I was just gonna say that by Robert's Rules of Orders is like if it's not contested, you can always vote, do a voice vote.
Got it. Okay, cool. So sounds like we are all in favor. Any opposed?
No.
Congratulations, Mara, to this honor that you weren't even thinking you wanted.
All right, but look, when I say yes to this, that means I'll do the work and I'll be here and I'll always be on time and all that stuff. So I give you that. I will give you that.
And I'm happy to meet offline to kind of walk through any kind of.
Yeah, I would appreciate that. Yeah, like a nice little handoff. So,
yeah,
like a little 1 hour handoff would be good, maybe.
For sure.
Sometime on Zoom. Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, and thank you for wanting me to do that.
You care a lot, and it's so evident in your passion that I just thought it would be a great way to kick off 2021.
That's a very nice thing to say. Thank you. You're right about that. You're right about that.
So next is the vice chair vote. The vice chair primarily is in charge of all of the gear for the commission, which is currently in my garage, and I'm pretty excited to get it out of there. They are usually the person who helps to coordinate with our youth members, reminding them about the meeting. Do you need a ride? If we ever get to have rides again, that kind of thing, just checking in with them periodically. And I think those are the biggest pieces, filling in for the chair if the chair can't attend a meeting. running a meeting, prepping an agenda if the need were to arise. So with that in mind, we can do self-nominations or nominations for the vice chair.
I nominate Tasha.
Thanks for not making me nominate everybody for the positions.
I was basically
Come on,
gonna say
you can do it.
I was basically gonna say the same thing that you had said. I just got promoted at work and I've been doing more with RDAP, so I'm kind of busy. But I think if vice chair is not as time intensive, then I think that will be fine.
You just need to house stuff.
Okay.
Are there any other nominations for vice chair?
I would be willing to do vice chair.
Well, in that case.
Thanks for nominating yourself.
Yeah.
I support that. I support you volunteering.
Well, then I switch my support to Katie. I mean, I nominate Katie. I mean.
Well, this is the best right here. Okay, so it sounds like a withdrawal, perhaps, from Tasha. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, it does sound a lot like that. Yes.
Okay. If there are no other nominations, then I think per what we just did for the chair, we can just do an all in favor. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, Katie, on being vice chair.
Katie. And Tasha, you're still with me on the conversion therapy ban, right? Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Katie, we can connect about the handoff of the inventory.
Cool. I got space to store stuff.
Sweet. Okay. Last is the secretary, and Todd can say a piece about that. Todd probably, I don't know, you probably spend just as much time as the chair in doing the minutes. Maybe they're not that onerous. I don't really know.
They're not that onerous. I mean, I generally just try to do as much as I can during the meeting and then clean up afterwards. So yeah, it's not a ton of time.
Okay, cool. So with that, we can do nominations.
I had never done it before, and I'm not gonna lie, when I got it last year, I was a little scared because it was actually very painless. So
cool. You're muted, Mara. I think you were saying something.
Yes, what I was saying was that it sounded to me like it would be best if Todd nominated the next secretary.
I'll nominate Chris.
Does she even hear you, Chris?
I don't know.
I was with my dog, but I did hear you.
How do you feel about that nomination?
Sure. That would be okay, unless someone else would like it.
Anybody? Bueller? Okay. That's it then, right?
Yes, we will just do the quick all in favor. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Perfect. Congrats to the new leadership team. I know it's a weird year and there's some hesitancy, and I get that too, but I hope that this year turns out better than this one, the one that we just finished. So congrats to everybody. Your leadership tenure starts now, though the rest of this meeting is just talking about the work plan for next year for the most part. So we will have some transition meetings. Todd and Chris, I would ask you guys to connect in the next month just to orient to the Google Drive and responsibilities there. And then I will connect both with Mara and Katie about chair and vice chair responsibilities and handoff in that regard.
Can I put in
Yep.
2 cents about the election as well? If when the bylaws are reviewed, which I think is at the end of the year, to move elections to December so that there is a little bit more of a transition period.
It's a good idea.
So that's just if someone could remember that, and if you want to consider that.
I will add the note to the work
Thank
plan.
you.
Yeah, likewise, I was gonna say, I don't know if it has to be a bylaw or maybe like a recommendation, but maybe that a month ahead of time nominations happen, and or at least like a discussion about that, because then you'd have a month, you know, to look over the duties and things, and people wouldn't really be like on the spot.
Yeah, it is not fun to be put on the spot. So this is a great suggestion. Okay, added. Where are we at? Okay, so this was a question that I was going to ask Councilperson Supple, but I forgot when you were doing your update. When you said that I'm very tired today, sorry. When you said that the applications for the commissioners has been extended, does this impact February start dates?
I don't know. I just got the email today that they discovered the glitch and extended the timelines till January 15th. So I am assuming that we will be like interviewing people and try and get people appointed, but I don't know for a fact. So that's a really good question. Check on that.
So if that's the case, if they aren't going to be appointed for February, that would leave this commission, you know, with a handful of folks for February. How would the city want the commission to handle that? Either postpone the February meeting, either delay it a week or two, or just cancel it for February and begin discussions in March. If you have any feedback or thoughts that you could share at some point, that would be awesome, just to help give some direction.
I will reply to the email to let me know about the deadline being extended to find out if they know what the timelines are, and then we can let you guys know.
Perfect, thank you. And then same question about the youth commissioners. They should be onboarded pretty quickly as well, right? So go ahead.
Yes, the problem is because of all the distance learning, I don't think we've recruited a lot of applicants for youth commissioners.
Yeah.
And so the pandemic is kind of messing that up. So right now we haven't interviewed anybody because I don't know if anybody's applied.
Okay.
So we're still working on that.
All right. So just more information to be determined as we move through 2021. Okay.
What is the age minimum for a youth commissioner?
I don't know, Mary. I'm not sure if you know off the top of your head.
I don't know. My guess would be 16, but I don't know for a fact.
And one of the youth wanted to be on again. I can't remember which one, but expressed interest in continuing.
Oh, really? Both of our youth, I thought, were quite good. So I would be very happy. One was graduating. I think it was Hannah who wanted to stay.
Looks like 15 years old is the minimum.
Nice work, Ted. Chris, so you're saying reach back out to Hannah, or we can, let's see here. Katie, as vice chair, would you mind reaching out to, well, let me figure out which of the two we're interested in staying on, and I will send you an email and you can reach out and just encourage that student to apply or see if she has applied, whatever works.
Cool, can do.
Cool. So typically, these are going to be more questions, probably for Mike and Mary. Typically, there is an orientation, like a commissioner orientation, ahead of the first set of meetings. Do we have any idea what the plan is related to that?
I know there was a plan to have an orientation because they're talking about some of the content that was going to be in it, but I don't know the timeline.
Got it. Okay. When you ask about February, would you also inquire about that to share? So just so that this commission is aware, Mara and Katie, just so you guys know, typically the chair and vice chair and the secretary will do a brief orientation to our specific commission before the first meeting. You can do it either in February or in March. I don't think it has to be done in February. Usually it's just a 30-minute thing. Here's what this commission does. Here's some of the work we've done. Here are some of the hallmarks of the commission from the last, what we just celebrated our 50th year, right? So I can share more information about that when we do the transition, and you can think about if that's something you'd like to continue to do. Let's see. So then with the last new business item was the Equity and Inclusion Administrator interviews, which Chris and I both sat in on. All 4 candidates were outstanding. I think the city had a really hard choice on their hands. It was a really interesting mix. Every candidate truly brought something different to the table. And in the end, when we were debriefing about strengths of the candidates, it was like any one of these people would be amazing. It depends on the direction you want to go right now in your first year. So I'm guessing that Bill was selected. So Bill has this amazing background. He comes from higher education, and he's a seasoned administrator. So I'm guessing we talked a lot about how Bill brought a vision, like a really strong vision for what a new plan could look like for a city that has never had one before. And it was really compelling. So I think he's going to be awesome in getting things off the ground for the city. Chris, I don't know if you would like to add anything to that.
He really talked about vision, guiding principles. I really think he'll set the tone. The other thing was his manner. It's very quiet. You could tell he's a good listener. And I just thought those were all very positive things as we're looking at expanding into the communities we haven't served before. And he also does conversational Spanish. So I thought that was a nice addition. But yes, we will enjoy him.
And I think that he is going to be a huge asset to this commission in finding new ways to better collaborate with the city, with the council, and various initiatives happening. He'll be a great bridge because now there's going to be somebody whose job it is to advance initiatives that this commission already wants to be working on. So I'm very excited for how he's going to be integrated into the work of this group. The last piece is the draft of the work plan, which we've kind of been talking about for the last couple of months. I would like to admit that I deleted the document I took notes in last time before I did the work plan. So what you're seeing is from memory, which is rocky at best. If I missed anything, just let me know, or you all have editing abilities, you can go ahead and edit things in. For example, I'm pretty sure we talked about more proclamations than just Indigenous Peoples Day. I couldn't remember what they were. So feel free to add those in. Again, though, this is just a draft plan, and whoever ends up wanting to work on proclamations, that group would make any final choices about that kind of work. Yeah.
The one proclamation we did talk about was the Bill of Rights. I think it's 100. It was actually in the minutes, I think. The Bill of Rights.
If I read the minutes.
Yeah.
Just kidding, Todd.
The 2021 is the 230th anniversary of the ratification of the Bill of Rights. And it's also the 80th anniversary of the Bill of Rights Day. So that was the only historical type thing that I found that had like a significant number attached to it.
Cool. All right, added in. So, I did not spell ratification correctly. Yes, that's what I meant. Does anybody notice anything else that I glaringly missed based on our previous discussions? Okay, so I think tentatively what would be helpful, this is a suggestion for new commissioners coming on board, is for this group now to tentatively tell us what projects are you passionate about that you want to work on, so we can just tentatively slot in committee member names so that new commissioners aren't feeling like they have to try to pioneer something on their own. As a reminder, we don't usually ask brand new committee members to lead any of the subgroups. They're certainly welcome to, but it wouldn't be an expectation. So that, and then the second piece is a reminder, this work doesn't happen unless somebody really wants to dedicate the time to making it happen. So this commission shouldn't feel like they have to do anything on this list. I would say in the past, we have said our hallmarks are the naturalization ceremony, which hasn't happened the past 2 years now, but hopefully we can hold it in 2021. And the Outstanding Citizen of the Year, which I think this commission is dedicated to. We've talked about ways to revamp and revitalize that this coming year. So those two, I would say, are must-haves, and everything else on the list is like, if we are passionate about it and want to do it, awesome. If something else comes up and that's what you want to do, great. It's about getting fellow commissioners on board, at least a group of 2, to move projects forward. So with that in mind, if people are passionate about these things, can tentatively, it's not set in stone, don't feel like you are slotted in for life, add names to the committee members group. And then in February, we should think about, of that, are there any committee members shuffle that needs to happen, and who's going to lead the initiative? Who's going to set up the meetings, take notes, make the contacts, those pieces. But for now, we don't have to, I don't think we have to agree to a leader right now for any of these. We can give it the month for people to think about. And sometimes I've been guilty of this, like you sign up for 5 things and then realize, oh wait, I can't do 5 things. So there needs to be a shuffling in that way as well. So with that said, I'm happy to just take notes and plop them into the committee members section in the document. And again, if anybody needs it, I did drop it into the chat. And we can just tentatively slot people in to engage in the work, knowing some of these things, depending on the time of year, may or may not happen, depending on what happens with the pandemic, right? So everything's very tentative. Is there anybody who's interested in working on Indigenous Peoples Day celebration? Reminder that we have money from the Richfield Foundation to pay for and sponsor an event. We have $1,500 for this.
This is Chris. I'm interested.
Cool.
This is Katie. I'm also interested in that one.
Okay.
This is Tasha, me too.
You too, Tasha? Okay. I'll move through these pretty quickly. Again, adjustments can be made at any time. The naturalization ceremony really only needs to be led. Most of the work happens by one person because it's contacting people and setting things up and a lot of logistics. Then day of, there tends to be a few commissioners that attend just to help with logistics and traffic flow, but it's not usually that many people are involved. So this needs one person to really spearhead and lead the logistics of this event, and then get people on board to help day of. And I'm happy to leave it blank for right now. We don't need to pull teeth to make it happen. I will say I put together a delightful process document that walks people through step by step how to do this. So it's probably the most prescribed thing on the work list, for what it's worth. Proclamations. Proclamations, as we've all seen and edited and read them, but there's a boilerplate template for proclamations. We often borrow language from other cities and bring it into what's pertinent to Richfield or to Minnesota. But it's not like you're going to write these whereases all on your own. Usually they're just a version of something that exists already. Typically we do 3 in a year, and I think it makes good sense to do Indigenous Peoples Day again, even though we did it last year, because it will coincide with the Indigenous Peoples Day event. What else? The proclamations are probably
ADA, American with Disabilities Act, is one we did.
And I don't think
Yeah,
we did
yeah.
anything for Pride Month. We had in the past talked about it, that we haven't as a commission done anything. And if we talk about the banning conversion therapy, kind of having those two go in hand, it's just my 2 cents. But and maybe I was wrong. Maybe we did do something for Pride Month, but
I can't remember.
historically we hadn't been.
Yes, we did.
And that was something.
Done.
Okay, so I mean, I don't know. Personally, I think it's important to keep it, at the forefront. There are many things to keep at the forefront, though. But yeah.
Right. Is there anybody who wants to have their name in the ring for the proclamation group?
I was just going to add that it might look a lot different in the coming year if we're not getting together, because the 2 that I had gone to at the actual City Hall where they did the whole thing, I feel like it's very impactful when they're able to do events like that, because they brought in people from the community who, were formally presented with it and things like that. And I know that they've still done some activities like that distanced and then like recorded them and uploaded them, but it just kind of feels a lot different. And I'm not saying that means we should give it up or anything like that, but I just wanted to give kind of my perspective as being in person for a couple of them, as I feel like it's very impactful when you can have kind of that handoff and like the pomp and people from the community where it's kind of like an event. Whereas like the going forward this year, I don't know if that would look like we just kind of email the mayor a document, and then I don't know if they really have been doing anything, but it's just something to consider. It's certainly still meaningful. It's just a different type of experience than it has been.
So I did do the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment this year, and it was done electronically it was done via WebEx. And we did have a community member from the League of Women's Voters. So she and I both talked, every council member talked. So it was like, we probably spent 15 minutes acknowledging the proclamation and talking about its importance. And like that, you're right, there is a sense to being in person that's really special, but this was also special. I think that the women's voting was a big deal this year, right? Like there's a lot to have been said. It was emotional. So I think there are ways to make it happen. It's about making smart choices about the proclamations that are picked. So I'm sorry, is there anybody who would like to sign up for that one at this time? Okay, so PennFest happens in September. Hopefully we'll be able to do PennFest this coming year. Whoever is on this commission just decides the way to present the commission's work or engage with the community at PennFest. It is typically done in, there's a couple of people who put the booth, so to speak, together, and then more commissioners are welcome to and encouraged to sign up for like 2-hour slots to staff the table during PennFest. If you are interested in staffing the table, you don't need to sign up right now. you would be signing up for right now is to develop the idea of what we would do for PennFest. If there's anybody who wants to do that.
I'll be on the PennFest committee.
Katie, you did the flip questions, right? I still have those boards.
Yeah, and it took a little longer than I thought. So like at the last minute, I was like sticking stuff on it.
Yeah. Okay. If anybody else wants to holler, I'll put your name on the board. We've talked about partnerships in the community. Chris has been kind of spearheading that thus far, but it really only works if all commission members agree to engage with one group or another. So I'll just leave that as is, and that can be for discussions moving forward about how you guys would like to handle that, especially with new commissioners. And we should be getting a good amount of new commissioners. So that will also help support the work plan.
Well, I think Bill will also help, maybe help us look at what the good connections would be. So I think that should be kind of put on hold until he's been here a couple of months.
It's fine. The next item is the outstanding citizen of the year. This group has talked several times about the need for this year to develop a rubric and perhaps revisit some of the criteria to either encourage youth applications, have separate applications, or some kind of configuration therein. The full commission reviews and votes on the actual applicants, but I think that there needs to be a subgroup who is going to lead whatever development there's going to be for a rubric or revamping any of the criteria. So the full commission's listed for application review, and I can make that clear. Oops.
This is Chris. I'd be interested.
Well, come on, Heather, you can spell. Awesome. The racial covenants and structural racism in Richfield was something that Brett was heading up. I don't have a ton of information about this particular event or the contacts that she had made without going back and looking through the minutes, which I did not do. So if anybody is interested in this, I have no idea if this has legs for 2021 within the community in the first place, because it was a lot of, I think the events were really like in-person driven kind of things. But if anybody's interested, we can certainly reach out to Brett and get who those community contacts were, just to see where this project sits for right now. I didn't get the sense from our previous discussions this was high priority. So my feelings aren't hurt if nobody wants to speak up and claim this one just right now. That's totally fine as well. But if you do, happy to write your name down.
I have a little bit more information about that, I think. I think that one was when we were looking into doing another event that ended up not happening because the person who was sponsoring it did not get their committee position or their, anyway, it's the Redlining Project had offered to do like a presentation for an event that we were doing. So I think that if we want to do anything in the future involving housing, a group that would be willing to come out and do something for, I think they were willing to do it for free. So that is the info that I have.
I think they were looking at a series of workshops.
Okay.
And they had the council room reserved, and it was very well organized.
So we'll just maybe let that one hang for now and people can think about whether or not that's work that you have capacity to take on. The DI work plan is something that we may want to let Bill settle into his position and then bring him on board and let him know this is something the commission is interested in working on, share our rationale and our goals and motivation for doing so. So you may want to let this one sit as well until April or so and then start working on it. But Bill may have other thoughts when he gets on board about how quickly he'd like to start this work. So if there's anybody who feels passionate about that right now, happy to put your name in there, but recognizing if work doesn't start for several months, obviously things may change. Conversion therapy van, I know we got Mara on that, and then Tasha,
Yeah, I'll take that one.
Was there anybody else who is on board for working on the conversion therapy van? Perfect, okay. The bylaws, according to our bylaws, need to be updated in 2021. This usually, like last time it happened in the fall, but I don't think it really matters when in the year you do it. It just needs to happen sometime in 2021. Typically, how this works is a small group. A small group will get together and read through the bylaws, make any suggestions or edits, bring it back to the commission, outline the changes that they're suggesting. Like we've already discussed, it would probably be a good idea to include in the bylaws some kind of December meeting for nominations or voting to allow for a longer transition period. So that's one piece that we already know about. And there's probably other stuff once you read through the bylaws. It is a short amount of, like, probably spans 2 months of time, and probably no more than a couple of hours of work on that. Even a couple of hours seems like it's probably a little.
Well, I don't know.
It's a little extra, but yeah.
This is Chris. I'm thinking actually it's going to take a little bit more time because when you start looking at other commissions and what their bylaws are, I think we could have more meat to them and understand them a little better. I think when we first started as new people, it's not very clear what our role is. So I'm thinking it's going to take more work than we think. Maybe
Chris, are you volunteering? Is that, Chris, did I hear that? You volunteer?
I would be interested. I would be interested.
This is Michelle. I would be too, because I have, over the last couple of years, with my Women of Today group, I have been on the committees to revise 3 or 4 different bylaws, both at the national and the local level. So I would be interested in helping Chris with this bylaws.
Or I'll help you.
Okay. Whatever. Like, yeah.
You can decide leadership at the next meeting.
I'm willing.
The last thing on the work plan is really for the chair, who will draft the annual report. Don't worry, I included links to templates in the work plan, Mara, and the commission just kind of reviews and edits. It's a pretty simple document. Then the chair will present the annual report, usually in December or January of the, it will either be December 2021 or January 2022, the presentation.
Did you do that in December?
I'm doing it in January. I was scheduled for December, and then I think the council.
But I thought you were done after tonight, though.
I will be done officially January 12th.
So you're still going to complete that duty then?
I'm still going to, I commit to completing that duty. Yes.
All right, then.
And then
that way I can know what to do, that'll help.
Yeah. I've never done it before either, for the record. Gonna wing it.
It's my plan too,
Yeah, I think it's a good plan. Then I just added as another idea ranked choice voting, which Mary brought up that she's heard from some members of the community that is of interest.
The former secretary, Bob, he looked into it, and I thought with the way Richfield is set up, it's almost impossible. Has that changed?
I don't remember that.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, Bob had looked into it and reported back because he was really into that. But he did some research on it and found that it at that point, that was a couple of years ago, but at that point it wasn't feasible the way the voting is set up. I don't know why exactly, but yeah, I do remember that happening.
From what I understand is because we have our elections on even numbered years. And so I think people are trying to get the state to change what it's doing. So rather than have the council just winging it and not having information, the thought was that perhaps somebody here could find out what we should, do the research, make a recommendation of, is that something, if the rules would change, that we would pursue? So it's more just of, I don't have the background on it because I think you're right. Right now, it wouldn't affect us. But the idea would be to have somebody here make a recommendation rather than just having a random thing come up at a council meeting. You want to go through a formal process, I think.
I think we should talk with Bob because he had done so much research, and that's why he went off our commission, because he wanted to spend his time working on this. So we shouldn't reinvent. Should talk to Bob and see what we can do.
I am adding the Bob contact in there. I can't remember how to spell his last name, but I just grabbed it and his email address.
Thank you.
But I'm all for it. I'd love for it to be able to happen.
Agreed. I totally support it. Okay. All right. That is officially saved on the drive for any of you guys to access and edit at any time. And let's see. What am I doing with my life here? Okay, that was the last item on our agenda, is the open forum. Does anybody have anything they'd like to say? Or any additional items, tidbits, news, events?
What about the outgoing commissioner appreciation? I noticed that's on the list here, and we haven't. I don't believe
we already did it.
That.
We appreciate them.
Oh yeah,
we covered that.
We did. We covered it at the top. Yeah.
We
Well.
have snacks, so I'm a little.
You can do it again if you want. It's totally fine.
Was it when you became the commissioner? Was it similar? Were people, really hoping you'd take it? Was it like that?
I think.
Or was there competition for it?
There was competition.
Oh, okay.
There was competition the first year I was elected.
The
Yeah.
first year that I was here, like I had been here for like 3 months or something, and like it was intense for the chair and the vice chair.
Yeah, it
Really?
was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and then it hasn't been like ever since then. It's been the same thing where it's been like, who wants it? Me, I guess.
Yeah, which I think is indicative of, two things. A, pandemic, and people are sick of all of the responsibilities that are happening remotely. Like, I'm done with remote responsibilities. And I think it's another piece that this group has talked about a number of times, and Chris touched on it earlier, that the group sometimes feels lost, even though we have a strong work plan and we've done amazing things. Sometimes it feels like they're operating independent of things that the city may want. So that's one of the reasons I'm really excited about Bill being connected to this group and hopefully helping to solidify that sense of belonging and partnership with the city. That's my optimism, my outgoing optimism.
How long have you been chair?
Well, I was vice chair for 1.5 years, and then when Brett stepped down 6 months ago, I was made chair.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. It was like
Yes,
that.
yes. But I wanted to be vice chair, so that I did throw my own hat in the ring for that election. Mhm. Yeah.
Okay.
I think if that's it, I'll just say goodbye and thank you to everybody. It's been a delight getting to know you guys. I wish the last 10 months didn't look this way, but I'm glad that we still were able to meet and get some work done.
Did we set a time for the handoff? You and I?
Yeah, I'll send an email right after this
All
meeting
right.
and we can figure it out.
And I'll
good.
email you, Chris, on the secretary stuff.
Excellent,
Katie.
thank you.
I'll email
Yep.
you too.
Sounds good.
Yep. Thanks, everybody.
Patty,
Good luck.
It's been a delight.
Thank you.
All right. See you. Have a good night.
Oh, wait. We need a motion to adjourn.
Oh, man.
I move we adjourn.
What are we going to do without you, Todd?
Okay, we've got Mara.
I'll
and do we have a
second.
okay.
All in
Carrie.
favor?
Aye.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye.